Tottenham 2, Manchester United 0. And do you know what, guys? Do you know what? I'm upset. I'm upset. I'm upset. And I'm not going to go in on the players today. I'm not going to go in on the players as much as probably I should. Because today the manager picked the same team. The same team that played badly last week. For me, one of the worst opening day performances. Even though we won, it was a terrible performance. The manager picked the same team. And today we're going to have to talk about Ten Hag. We're going to have to talk about the manager because I want to understand the style of football, the style of play this man is going to implement or wants to implement. Because he wants to play this quick transition football, fair enough. But he's picking players that are just really quick with their feet, perhaps, are not really quick with their minds, and not very technically sound. The front three today, just like last week, were atrocious. Rashford cannot play with his back to goal, we know that. He should have scored today, and he didn't. Antony, I would sell him tomorrow if I could. I'll sell this. I don't want to be harsh today. I want to be trying to be level-headed, but Antony today was crap. Garnacho, I don't want to get started on Garnacho. I know the kid is young, but once again, I didn't see Mason Mount at all today. Bruno, his body language, his performance today, he didn't do anything. Casemiro, once again, in the midfield by himself. Is Ten Hag learning? Is he learning? Because one thing I said, and I keep saying, I want to know what Ten Hag has learned this season, or should I say learned last season. What kind of football does he want to implement after spending a whole season observing and watching and seeing what it takes and what is required? The reason why we were excited, the reason why all United fans were excited about Ten Hag is because we thought this man was going to come in and implement a specific style of play, a total football style of play, the Dutch football. We want to see good football. We won the Carabao Cup last season, and yes, we finished third. But the one thing that we've all said as United fans is that we want to see good football. And we didn't see a lot of good football last season. We saw a lot of effective football. We won games. Casemiro scored a few headers from crosses, and we got over the line a few times, but we didn't see good football. And at the start of this season, we're not seeing good football. And it makes you think, what I see Ten Hag is trying to implement, especially after buying Mason Mount. You buy Mason Mount, and you buy Onana, who can play out from the back. But it seems like his signings are not making sense. There's no cohesiveness in his signings. And I just don't like the type of football that this manager is trying to play. And we're going to have to talk about it. I know I've been going on a rant, but we're going to have to talk about it. The game wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good watch. And do you know what? Even though I say that, United didn't start too badly. And if we had taken our chances, maybe the game would have been different. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. He wants to play this frantic Liverpool, heavy metal football from defense to attack. And there's nobody with the technical nous or soundness to just sometimes... No, you know what? We have to slow it down sometimes. You can't just 100 miles an hour. There's a lot of people on the pitch that have really quick feet, like I said before, but not quick minds. We're going to have to talk about it. We're going to talk about the game today. Let's go through the lineup. Let's go through the game half by half, starting with the first half as we do, and we're going to talk about it and dissect it, see what went right, see what went wrong, in my opinion. We're going to talk about the second half, what went right, what went wrong. I'm upset. You can tell I'm not feeling it. Today was just not a good day, and I feel like my patience with the manager is growing thin. I'm not Ten Hag out, but time after time, day by day, because do you know what it is? It's because I don't like what he's trying to do. I don't like that Liverpool, that sort of back to front really quickly, and we can't retain possession. Teams like that find it difficult to retain possession. I thought this guy was going to come in and play some beautiful football. And if you look at Tottenham Hotspurs today, in just a short space of time, what their manager's done with their team and the football they're playing, and our managers had our team for over a year. And look at the football that we are playing. There's a lot. If you're not... There's a lot to talk about today, guys. Smash the like. Please turn on the notifications, and subscribe below if you haven't subscribed. I think I'm calm now. My rant is over. I'm a bit more chilled, a bit more level-headed. I can think in a bit more clearly. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the game. We don't need to talk about the lineup because we know the lineup, and I know a lot of you would have started Sancho instead of Garnacho. It is what it is. The manager decided to play the same players, and do you know what? I get it, because if you play a different team, you're admitting that you got it wrong. And if you truly believe in something as a manager, and that is, I understand you have to show conviction if you truly believe in something. So if you really believe that is the starting lineup and that's the best team, then I get why you would go out and play that same team. But the whole point of being a manager is to be proactive and to be reactive, to see what's going right, to see what's going wrong, and to make changes in real time and to make changes quickly, not to be stubborn. And it looks like to me there is a stubbornness about Ten Hag. Perhaps Ten Hag, and I have heard about this before, perhaps he has favourites that he sticks with. And for me, and I know this might sound a bit harsh, but I've always said this. I like Bruno and I like Rashford. I don't love them. I don't think they're amazing. I just like them. They're just good players. We, Manchester United Football Club, will never win a Premier League if those two are our talisman, because they're not good enough to win Premier Leagues. They're good players, but they're not good enough. I mean, Rashford is good enough to win a Premier League as a squad player, but not as a main striker. Bruno, perhaps he is, but Bruno gives the ball away a bit too much for me. And today, well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it today. Those two weren't the worst players, but... And you know what? When you're watching a game and you're like, this player's playing bad, and after a while you're realizing, hold on a second, everybody's playing bad. You can't single out individuals. That's when you got to look at the manager. If everyone is playing badly, right? You have to start looking at the manager. You have to. And I'm sorry, this manager for me is on fraud watch. But yeah, let's talk about the game. First half, first few minutes, we started pressing. We pressed actually decently. Mount won the ball up, high up. Antony had a good shot. He shot over. Rashford kept losing the ball in the first few minutes. I was a bit concerned. Well, I'm always concerned when Rashford plays up front because he just can't do it effectively. Not to the level that is required to win titles, to win Premier Leagues. He kept losing the ball. But, however, United, their midfield was slightly more compact at least than it was against Wolves. And one thing I did expect, the very least, was an improvement. I didn't think we were going to play as badly as we did against Wolves. And even though I'm fuming, I'm upset, annoyed, angry, whatever, I don't think we played as badly. But, yeah, Onana today, Onana's distribution, straight away, the first thing I noticed, today was amazing. In fact, Onana was probably my man in the match. He was our best player. His pass to Garnacho around the 21st minute, that crossfield pass to Garnacho in the open space, I was like, yeah, this guy, if we had better forwards, this guy will definitely get assists this year. He will definitely get assists. But yeah, we had chances. We had chances in the first half. Rashford, missed header. I mean, it might have been offside. But, Bruno clipped a pass, really beautiful clip pass from Bruno around the 21st, 22nd minute to Rashford. Like I said, it could have been offside, but he headed it over. And that was a common theme. Rashford headed it over. Bruno also had a chance as well where he was just open in space, and he headed it over. But I think that was in the second half. But no, that was in the first half, 35th minute. But yeah, we had two chances to score. Rashford was through. He should have dinked it. He didn't. So even though, yes, I'm annoyed and upset, if we had taken those chances, if we were clinical, the game might have gone, as we all know about football, that's just football, right? The game might have gone differently. But like I said, in the first half, we kept winning the ball back very high up the pitch, and I think that's what the manager wants us to do. But even though we kept winning the ball back high up the pitch, we just weren't incisive. We weren't clinical enough. We weren't good enough. We weren't intelligent enough in our movement and in our passing choices and our decision making to make it count, to make it matter. What's the point of winning the ball back high up the pitch when you win it back, you're not decisive, you're not clinical, you're not cohesive to create a chance? And that was quite disappointing. We didn't make enough of those opportunities. But like I said, we were pressing better, tighter, compacting in the midfield. Rashford, Bruno should have scored in the first half. Antony was probably our best player. And yeah, our decision making and our finishing just wasn't good. Tottenham in the first half were there for the taking. And if we were just better, we would have scored. The problem I have also in the first half is that most of the goal threat came from the left-hand side, and Antony just doesn't offer, for me, that goal threat. He doesn't hog the line the way Garnacho hogs the line, and he doesn't drive infield the way Garnacho does. And I'm not saying he's not as good as Garnacho. I'm not saying Garnacho is better than Antony. I'm just giving you an example of why there is a lack of goal threat there. But, you don't need, that's not the only way you can make a goal threat. You can pass and create triangles and, do given goals and run into space, or you can do over the top ball to Antony. But either way, there isn't that goal threat there on the right-hand side when we have the ball on the right. And I think a lot of teams, they know that as well. And that's a problem. So yeah, the first half, they were there for the taking and we didn't take them. So second half, straight away, first 4 minutes, Tottenham scored. And do you know what? I was watching the game, and when they scored, I was thinking, hopefully this will trigger the manager into making a substitution. Because this guy brought the same team out in the second half that ended the first half. And I was thinking, wow, okay, Ten Hag, you are either a genius in the making, because I don't see what you're trying to do. I don't understand, but do you know what? Blind faith. Let me just, So you're either a genius or you're very, very stubborn. You saw what we all saw, and you want these guys to, once again, just like in the first game, come out again. First 5 minutes, go. Down the right, this guy, the right-hand side of our left-hand side, Shaw's side, was it Kulusevski? He had 20-yard space. He could have probably did a tango and did a dance and all these things and still not get tackled. I don't know what was going on in the marking. I don't understand why Shaw was giving so much space. Who should have closed him down? Was Shaw thinking that Garnacho was going to mark him and Garnacho was thinking Shaw? So was it a miscommunication? I don't know. But it was terrible defending down that side. Deflected shot. It was a deflected shot. And Sarr's goal at the back post. But after that goal went in, it's like I didn't even think we were going to do anything. When that goal went in and Bruno started throwing his hands up and doing all the things, and I'm thinking, this guy is our captain. This guy is our captain now. It's not like before he was just a normal player and people were like, do you know what? It's okay. He's allowed to do that. It's part of his personality. This is now our captain, our representative of the football club, and his behavior and his attitude on the football pitch when he sulks, shrugs his shoulder. This is the kind of thing, that people hated, Martial for, showing a bit of character. And now Bruno does it even. Bruno's worse than Pogba and Martial in terms of body language. 10 times worse than any of them. And he doesn't get anything for it. It's interesting. I don't think it's interesting, that's all. But we created another chance at Antony. We've got to talk about Antony. And Antony hit the post a couple of minutes after Tottenham scored. And Antony's on the manager as well. because the manager likes who he likes. He's bought a lot of players that he's played with before, and he keeps picking Antony. He's even frozen Sancho out the team for Antony, because you could argue you can play Sancho down the right hand side, but he clearly has his favourites, and Antony is one of his favourites, and Antony is a sword that I think this manager might have to die on, because there's so many flaws in Antony's game. I don't know if he's got the time in terms of his age to make up these flaws in his game. So many little holes in his game. He's like really good at this, but then really poor at that, and really good at this, but really bad at that. And I'm like, wow, you're just in like your stats or your credentials in must be doing this up and down, because you're such a erratic player. And yeah, I really wanted Antony to work, and I still want Antony to work at this club, but it might be difficult because I just don't know if he has. We'll see. It's early days. I said I was going to give Antony one more season, because you can't judge a man coming from a different league, different football, different style of play, all these things. Give a man a couple of seasons. He's not everyone is Haaland. Not everyone can come in their first season and light it up. But Antony, fraud watch. I'm telling you, this guy. But yeah, today wasn't a good game for him. I remember he also had three, like I think the one time, I think around the 60th minute, he had like three missed passes like in the space of 10 seconds. And I was thinking, okay, Antony, you're going to get crucified online, on Twitter, on everything today. People are going to say it was all your fault. Even though the whole front three was rubbish, you're going to get it today because we spent 100 million euros, 85 million pounds on you. So yeah, he did. I mean, he came off anyway. Antony came off. I think Garnacho came off. And Wan-Bissaka came off for Dalot, Eriksen, and Sancho. Yeah. And to be honest, a little bit of control was added, but they came on for who? Yeah. A little bit of control was added, but the problem is he shifted Bruno out to the right-hand side. And I'm like, listen, sometimes I'd prefer if this guy just played a right winger and was brave, was bold, and took off a midfielder, took off Bruno or a Mount or whatever, and then put Pellistri. Why? Rather than, do you know what? I want to keep Bruno on the field, but shift him to the right. How about just play the right? Be bold and be brave. Either take Mount off and put Bruno in that position or whatever, or just don't play a central midfielder out wide. And that was a bit annoying. And I think we went through a period of play where Bruno was a bit petulant and he was giving the ball away on the right-hand side, and we looked lopsided, and we just didn't. I know we got a bit control of the game, but Tottenham were just starting to feel themselves. Tottenham was starting to just say, yeah, we're 1-0 up, and we started to boss it. And, you know, they scored again. They scored a second goal. Yeah, it was an own goal. I don't know how to analyse this goal. So much space down that side. But it was just unlucky, I guess. It was just a cross, probably going wide, trickled in wide, and Lisandro Martinez tried to clear it. And yeah, I would say that was an own goal by Martinez into the bottom right corner. 2-0, game done, game, set, and match. And you know what? I zoned out. I clocked off after that, to be honest. There was nothing to see. There's nothing to analyse. I'd seen enough. The players still don't understand what to do. Either that or the manager has got a mix of profiles. Because don't forget, the manager wanted to get people like De Jong. And then he went from De Jong to Casemiro. And now he's got Mason Mount. And then he's got Eriksen. So he's got Eriksen who's good on the ball, Mason Mount who's good off the ball. Like, I don't understand the profile of what he's doing. And I said this before, and I will say it again. For me, I wanted to get inside his brain. I want to know what, after this first season, what has this manager learnt? And how does this manager think? What does this manager think we need to do to win the league? And this is what Ten Hag thinks will win the Premier League. This football. Ten Hag thinks this style of play, sort of quick transition football with players that are not the most technically sound, but are really more pace and power footballers. The technically sound footballers, for me, like the Jadon Sancho, who's not as quick, doesn't have the power and pace. But if you implement a style of play which is more like Man City's, where you keep possession of the ball, his lack of power and lack of pace won't really matter. But because we don't keep the ball well, and I think the manager has given up on that type of football, that sort of possession-based football. He's given up. He wants to do the power, quick transition football. Because he wants to play that, a lot of the players can't play that, or he doesn't have the profile player to play that. And for me, he thinks he does, but I don't. And even if we do, I don't think that football can win the league. And if it does win the league, it's not sustainable year by year. Liverpool have shown that it's not really sustainable. You need, like, your body can't do this rock and roll football for like a season after season. The next season, you usually fall back and you die. You have to rest. So keeping the ball and having the ball is always better than having high press, high energy, running around. That's crazy. Like, that's not a sustainable style of football. And that's why I'm saying I don't like the style of football that this manager is trying to implement. Like, I know Martial and Pellistri came on right at the end for Mount and Rashford was vexed. But to be honest, Rashford didn't play well today anyway. So I don't know why this man's vexed. And because Rashford is the PR darling, because he's in all the adverts, he's in all the media campaigns, he's the forefront, he's the face of Man United Football Club. And because he scored goals, and the goal scorer is always a person that makes you feel good. And because anything positive about Man United, Rashford's the face-off. Everybody feels a positive feeling about Rashford. And Rashford gets away with, for me, a lot of rubbish performances without fans calling him out. And he's the top guy now. He's the £325,000 or whatever he's getting paid. And he just doesn't do it for me. Like, I don't think United will win the Premier League with Marcus Rashford playing as a striker. Maybe as a left winger, probably as a left winger, because let's be honest, that's probably his best position. He doesn't have the IQ. I will say this, he doesn't have the football IQ to do a lot of things. He plays with his head down. He runs into crowded spaces. He plays better with Martial, and the reason why he plays better with Martial, because Martial is a pass first, shoot later player, which means Martial is always looking to drop and feed Rashford, whereas Rashford is a shoot first, head down, dribble and shoot first, and then see if you can pass. That's the sort of footballer he is. So Rashford can only play his best football with somebody who's a facilitator, someone who provides for him. When Rashford is going to be asked to provide for Højlund, that will be very interesting, because Rashford doesn't play well with strikers he has to provide for, because he wants to score himself. So the balance of the team is wrong. I don't get what the manager's doing. Martial came on and he made an impact. He got on the ball. He made little nice passes. He came in field, tried to do little 1-2s. We had no time, of course, and I knew United were not going to score a goal. To be honest, I gave up on United. I fully gave up on the game after that point. But yeah, it was cool to still see him on the pitch. Pellistri did more probably in like 5 minutes than Antony did all game. I'm joking, he didn't. But we've got problems with Antony, and we got problems with this manager. I just hope he learns quickly. I say I hope he learns quickly, but he's been a year, and this is what he's assessed. This is what he thinks is needed to win the league. This is what we're saying is what he thinks is the best of Man United. He thinks Garnacho on the left is better than he thinks that, otherwise he wouldn't be playing this team. And that to me is that's why I'm upset. I'm upset because I don't see eye to eye with the manager, and I thought he was going to be the one, like Neo. I thought this guy was going to be the one like Neo, but he's not. He still could be, but today I am upset. And that's it. Smash a like, guys. Subscribe below. Turn on your notifications. That's my rant over. I don't know what else to say. What do you guys think? What's going on? Who's joining me on Ten Hag Forward Watch? We're not Ten Hag out or anything like that. We're just having a closer eye on Ten Hag now. We've given him a little leeway. We've given him a 2 meter stick for the first year, but now that stick is 1 meter. We brought him a bit closer to us. We need to just keep an eye on him. That's what we're doing this year. Because if I'm getting close to be like, listen, if this guy does not want to play good football, then get out, because you could easily play saucy and implement saucy football. We have the players now, but we'll see. We will see. Wasn't a good game. It's just I'm upset. It's upsetting. Have a good week, guys. If you're not